I know we talked a little bit before we went live about, things that content creators could do, but I would love to hear if you have any ideas for like, hey, here's just like a great way to just get started with an email list as a content creator.
Well, I think before I dive into that, the one thing going back to like the best time to start, like there's a saying, dog. It's like the best time to plant a tree was 100 years ago. The second best time is today. It's like the same thing. I talk to so many business owners every week, or my team and I do, and it's always like, one limiting belief people have is like, oh, I don't have a big list. I'm like, okay, but the only way you're going to get a big list is by focusing on it and communicating with the people once they opt in. And if you like, it's like the chicken or the egg thing. You're planning, if you're not doing it because the list is small, the list will never be big because you never do it. Right? Yeah. And so I think that it's anyone doing anything on social, paid or organic, it behooves you to do this as soon as possible, just because you have a lot more control over the conversation. And so in terms of from an offer standpoint, I think it comes down to what are they selling? Like you have this, like the value you bring in the newsletter is opportunities, right?
Right.
And so like that's an easy thing for you. So I guess for any of the listeners, like what product can they carve out from what they're normally doing to that has a high perceived value that someone will give their email for? So if they have an info product, it's easy, right? It could be like a slice of whatever the info product is and given away as a lead magnet, right? And assuming it has alignment with their market, people should opt in for that pretty well at a like conversion rate standpoint. A lead magnet is simple. A little training is easy to do. Again, I'd like maybe give an example of some creators that you've spoken to that you know what they do, and I can give you something actually tangible.
Yeah. So this one's probably a tricky one, and it also might even bring up the question like, should everyone have an email list? So I see some creators who are more in like I'll call it like the entertainment space, who a lot of times they want to monetize through like getting sponsored by a brand. They're not necessarily selling like an info product. Maybe eventually they'll do some type of like TikTok coaching or something along those lines. But I get a lot of people in that space who are, purely in the entertainment space. Maybe they have a big YouTube following as well. Would you recommend an email list for that type of content creator? I mean, one thing I'm thinking is like, you can kind of use that to send traffic to a new platform, right? If you're just getting started with a YouTube channel. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts there.
Well, I think if their angle there is like getting brand deals, right? Like one thing that they could do, it could be like an opt-in for, this would be super direct for their target or what they want, but like an opt-in for like their fucking pricing sheet and example brand deals they've done in the past. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. That's very like, if you're this person, which is a very small percentage of their following, and you're on my page, I do brand deals, and this is how I've done them in the past, right? And but then it becomes, after they opt in, then it's not so much about nurturing them. It's more so about like, however these deals take place, right? So like, then if someone opted in, I would say like, oh, they're interested in what I'm selling. I would put them into a sales pipeline, and then I would be very guerrilla, hands-on in terms of like, how do I make it an offer to this person, or how do we get to the brass tacks as soon as possible to see if I can get a brand deal out of it? And if not, at least have a relationship. I'll stay in the loop. I'll send them dope shit that I do in the future. But then it's like more of a sales thing, not a marketing thing.
Right. No, that makes sense. And it's cool to hear this perspective, how like email can be used in multiple ways, right? It's to your point, it can be very like direct response, like, hey, I'm just trying to get them to the next thing right away. Or it's like a nurturing, it's a nurturing activity where like, hey, you're sending them value. And then you mentioned it's like the bank, right? You can take that deposit every once in a while. So really thinking like, okay, what do I want to do actually as a business, as a content creator? And then like, let's form an email strategy to actually, go after those goals. It seems like that's kind of how you're thinking about this.
And again, from like this, I've done this stuff because I've been in email for so long. It's not what I do for clients, but it's like, if they're trying to get brand deals, maybe going from social to opt-in isn't the best move. It might be like they're doing that. Maybe they're getting opt-ins because it doesn't hurt to build a list. But even so, from a sales standpoint, it's like, the brands that you want to work with, build a hit list and start to reach out to like cold outreach emails to those folks. Again, it's a whole different angle, but it's using the same modality in a different way. And there's a lot of leniency, B2B cold email. Like you can't do that shit direct with business to consumer, but B2B, you can do that shit all day.